to War Times, American Heroes. We're here with Samuel McAlexander, a World War II veteran, and he's going to talk about war and his experiences. Good evening. How are you, Samuel?
Thank you, David.
What is it like on the front?
It's rough. You have been shot at?
No.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. They're shooting at you. And it ain't with stoppers either. Real bullets coming out of those guns. That's what it's like on the front.
What kind of songs did you and your people sing?
Well, over here we sung the modern songs at that time. Harry, Apple Blossom Time. I really can't think of it. It's been so long till I can't think of them, but I remember Harry, Apple Blossom Time, and I can't remember, son, but it was the songs of that time for World War II, but I can't remember it.
What is it like in the trenches?
We didn't have trenches. We dug foxholes. For each individual guy dug his own foxhole. So we stayed out of those trenches. Those trenches were for guys for the soldiers, really for the enemy, because they stayed in them. They was on their own turf, but we drove them out. So we didn't dig trenches. We dug foxholes and got in it, and we'd leave it and go dig another somewhere else.
What did the foxholes look like?
They're about 2.5, about 30 inches wide, about 6 feet long, and about 3 feet deep. Just a hole in the ground, oblong.
Where were you fighting?
I fought in Europe, which was France and Germany.
So, can you tell us what these medals are for? What they stand for?
That one right there is the Bronze Star, and that one is the American Defense. That one I fought in Europe, and this one is for Liberty Fighting, and this is Good Conduct. And these are the ribbons, and this is my dog tags of the war. And the discharge under that right there, that Sergeant First Class, Combat Entry Badge. You get shot at, you get one of those. You don't give you but one, remember how many times you've been shot at, still don't get but one. And this, when you're honorable discharge, you get that to pin on your clothes, put it on your coat, lapel of your coat.
What is this picture from?
That was made of me in Miami Beach, Florida, in the first part of 1943, while I was in basic training down in Miami Beach, Florida, for 90 days. And this picture, when they got news that I was wounded back home, they had that picture put in the paper of my hometown being wounded.
That's very interesting. Thank you for being here today.
Didn't mind coming at all, son.
Now, Leon is going to share with us some souvenirs from World War II.
Okay. This dollar I took over with me, and I brought it back home with the buddies in my outfit signed their name to it. This piece right here, I'll have to get my glasses out because I can't read it. That's a French lire, that's worth 20 cents. That's German, and that's worth 20 cents. This is Dutchland, that's $1. Goes on, I've got some Russian. Let's see where it's at. Here's Russia right here. The Netherlands, Italy, that's 2 lire, that's worth 2 cents. And there's Russian. There's Russia, Russian. And this is Russia. Now, it would take a barrel, back at the time, it would take a basket full of money, of Hitler money, which that's what they called it, to basketful to buy a loaf of bread. Because it wasn't any good, didn't have no value to it. So,
Leon.
right here, named Shaw, from Mississippi. He and I were pulling guard duty. We pulled it from 10 till 12 at night. Nobody didn't come to relieve us. At 1 o'clock, I went back to where the group was, woke the sergeant up, told him we had been relieved. But on my way back, I had been gone but, 10 minutes, till I heard machine gun going off. But I continued on to get the sergeant up. He got 2 guys up, we went back, and I found Shaw had been shot with a machine gun. He had, of course, we all wore overcoats, thought it was so cold. He'd been shot and his insides was hanging out. I unbuttoned his overcoat, placed him back inside of him, and then put his overcoat back on him and took my cartridge belt and wrapped it around it to hold him all in until the medics could get to him, and they came and got him. And he got back 3 or 4 days back to the company from his wound than I did when I went back, because we was all headed to the South Pacific.
Any other heroic instances that you can recall?
Yep, I got one. The 3 of us was in a Jeep, and we rode over to a little old German village which had never been cleaned out. That's what I mean by cleaned out: snipers and the Germans that had stayed behind. And we went up, and just as we entered the village, the Sergeant Roberts was in Dover, Delaware. He got shot in the throat, cut his windpipe in two. The bullet went all the way through him, and he fell out on the ground on the right. And I was riding in the back. I fell out the back. And the driver, he jumps out and crawls around. All of us left our weapons in the Jeep. So I told him I wasn't paying any attention to Rogers and Roberts until I heard him. And I looked, and I saw blood just coming out of his throat. And I wasn't too far from him, but I crawled over there and looked, and there was a windpipe. Well, it wasn't shot completely in two, but it was just was hanging. So I told the Jeep driver, I said, get this pen out of my fountain pen. Back then, we had fountain pens that had tubes in it that held the ink, and it had an opening at one end, and it was rounded on the other, closed up. I said, cut that ball off, rinse it out good with water, bring it to me as quickly as you can. He did, and I put it, tubes in there, breathing tubes. But while he was doing that, I put them in my mouth and breathed for him in his lungs and to his brain so he wouldn't die. And he gave me that, and I put the tubes in there, and I held it till I could get the bandages out of my first aid pouch, and I wrapped it around it. The other 2 gave me their bandages, and we wrapped it. And as we're doing that, up come a tank with the medic. He wanted to know what that shooting was going on up here. And when I told him, you know where it's coming from? I said, that church steeple right up there, 'cause we've had it before. That tank said, well, I can fix that. So he just turned the turret around, raised that 90 millimeter up, and just below the opening of the church tower where the bell was, he let one shot go, and down come tower, bell, and all. And then the medic went over there and got hold of Sergeant Roberts and fixed him up. He wrapped him up more. I never did see him anymore, because I'm sure he was all right though.
Earlier about being wounded. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the outfit that I was in, well, to start with, I was in the 3rd Army under General George S. Patton. And I'm sure all of you have heard of General Patton. If you haven't, you should see the movie. And it's right along that he was. That's just the way he was. And if he was living today, and I was a young man, and I went back in, I would still want him to be my division commander. But I was with the 87th Division, 87th Division, Company K, 346th Regiment. 3rd Platoon. We were cleaning our little town. That's mainly what our outfit did. We didn't do too much shooting back into each other. We were cleanup men. And me and my group was on the left-hand side of the street. You got to remember, you walk out the living room onto the street, because they had no yards, not in front. It was on the side. And the guys on that side was walking and cleaning them out. But we was looking up on there to find the snipers, and they was looking above us for the snipers. Well, one or two guys had got ahead of me, and I stepped in front of a window. And just as I made my step, a knife come out and hit me in the foot. And I didn't know what it was. I looked down and saw it, and I had 2 or 3 steps to make to the doorway, and they told us, if you get hit, don't fall, make it to a doorway. Well, I did, and I saw the knife. I pulled it out, the blood was coming out, so I stuck it back in there, trying to stop the bleeding. Well, the boy behind me wanted to know, what did you get that thing? Well, that knife. I said, somebody in that window down there threw it at me. Threw it, and I caught it. He's after that boy across the street. So him and one of the guys outside the window pulled hand grenades and threw them in there, and they went over me down in that basement. They come back and said, well, those men won't bother anybody else anymore, because they scattered all over that basement down there. And they were taken back to the field first aid, and from there, that's where they put us in a schoolhouse, and I stayed there for a week before we were found. That's it. I'm
That
through.
was kind of rude of her.
Well, that's the Red Cross
Oh, yeah. Well,
back at that time.
once again, thank you very much for being here.
Yes, sir, son.
Pleasure meeting you. I'd like to thank my grandpa for coming and doing this interview with me for my school project on World War I. Although he wasn't in World War I, there's nobody else that is probably alive that we know of. So I decided that I'd bring in him since he's been in World War II and he knows a whole lot about wars. So I decided I'd bring him in and interview him.